Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to sunny Appalachia. It's been quite some time since my last Fallout 76 video here on the channel, but with the new season and the GONE FISSION update, I've really been enjoying exploring the swamps, the rivers, the lakes, and even the puddles of West Virginia once again. This update added fishing to the game, and with fishing, they added a lot of new features, challenges, and rewards for players to earn. En route to hunting down the over 50 fish that are currently available within the game, we also upgrade our fishing rod, we find new modifications for it, we unlock new bobbers, and of course, we find lots of fun fishing themed items for our characters to wear and show off within our camps. The ultimate challenge for the Fallout fishermen is to go out there and catch the 3 elusive local legends that can be found in very specific locations on the map. Today, I finished that challenge, and I wanted to show what I did and where I went to find the Wavy Willard, the Organ Grinder, and Ryl-Tkannoth Maw-Begotten. The first place I went searching was right in my backyard up in the Toxic Valley. My camp was set up here so I could fish for axolotls, and a few hundred yards away are the ruins of the old Wavy Willard water park. It's here where our first local legend can be found, and after searching the area for some suitable water to fish in, I decided that the swimming pool at the bottom of the slither slide would be the perfect place to start. There's something so peaceful and relaxing about spending time at Wavy Willard's. Maybe it's because it reminds me of the water park that we would visit in the summer when I was a kid. Well, imagine my surprise when just on my second cast, I end up pulling something I've never gone up against before. This fish was quite different than the hundreds of fish I landed before this. It was much stronger than anything I've seen so far. Just look at how slowly it's being reeled in, and I'm even using a Mark IV fishing reel. It moves so quickly that I was barely able to keep up with it. I'm using an advanced reel modification on my fishing rod, which makes it harder for the fish to escape, but even then, I'm barely able to keep this thing on the line. After an intense back and forth, the fish finally started to get tired and I could slowly reel him in, and even then, this was quite the battle, but eventually, our prize comes jumping out of the water, and would you look at that, who would have thought that such a small fish could put up such a huge fight? This was just the first of the 3 local legends that can currently be found within Fallout 76, and the odds of catching these creatures is not very good whatsoever. As you saw from the fight that the Wavy Willard put up, they are incredibly tough to catch. This means you'll need to have your fishing rod up to the Mark IV reel, and hopefully you'll also have one of the better modification attachments unlocked from doing your fishing dailies. The odds of catching a local legend can be seen right here, and unlike axolotls, they can be caught with common bait, because while using common bait, you will always have a 1% chance for a legend to bite, which is about the same as a glowing fish. And that's where things get really interesting, because if you find yourself down the common bait, which happens quite often, you have a 1% chance to find a glowing fish and a 1% chance to find a local legend if you're in the right area. The odds, of course, are still the same, but when you think about it, you have to be lucky enough for a 1% chance to happen, and then get even luckier that it's the right 1% chance, which you guys will be seeing a lot more in this video. Using improved bait to catch local legends does increase your chances slightly based on the weather, and using the superb bait from the scorecard gives you much better odds as well, though that resource is incredibly limited. With the legendary Wavy Willard now comfortably placed on our wall, it's time to hunt down our second local legend, the Organ Grinder. This legendary fish can be found within Organ Cave over in the forest region. There are several ways into the cave, and I decided to use the south entrance. Upon going inside, we find a number of cultists who call this cave home, and after quickly dealing with them, we find what looks to be the perfect spot to cast out our line. Now, when it came to catching the Wavy Willard, we had improved bait, therefore it was a 3% chance that he would even bite, and somehow we got it on the second try. Well, the Organ Grinder was not nearly as generous. I used up what was left of the improved bait, meaning that we were left with just the lowly common bait. Remember that when using common bait, there is a mere 1% chance for a local legend to bite, which is the same odds of having a glowing regional fish bite, and would you look at that, we land ourselves a glowing Kanawa, which are native to the forest region. The chances of that happening are incredibly low, and I don't believe that we are being helped out by weather conditions, considering we're deep within a cave. I would be curious to find out exactly how that works. Does the weather outside of the cave impact the fishing inside the cave, or does every cast of your line while within Organ Cave simply count as casting within clear weather? In either case, we look to have another rare fish on the line here. This one is a bit stronger than that glowing Kanawa that we caught earlier, and after a lot of back and forth and a few really close calls, the Organ Grinder makes his glorious leap out of the water and into our hands. A 1% catch rate since we are stuck using only common bait, but it was still able to be caught. All in all, the Organ organ grinder took about 20 minutes of fishing to be caught, which is pretty good considering we're using common bait and don't even have the grilled fish food buff for faster bite times. I'm starting to think that salt might actually be the most valuable resource within Appalachia, but regardless, it's time to place the organ grinder on the wall next to the Wavy Willard, and now we have just one more local legend to hunt down. The third and final legendary fish in Appalachia is Ryl-Tkannoth Maw-Begotten. This legend can be found in the Big Maw area of the mire. This is an incredibly dark and creepy location. We must travel down the hill towards the water at the bottom where cultists have set up a place for sacrificial rituals. There are also some floaters hiding in the water as well, making this one of the most disturbing places to cast out your line and hope for a bite. Ryl-Tkannoth would serve to be the hardest of the local legends for me personally. I went down here with nothing but common bait and cast out well over 100 times without finding the creature. Remember earlier I said that while using common bait it's a 1% chance to find a glowing regional fish and another 1% chance to find a local legend? Well, that 1% chance kept not working in my favor. I caught no less than 6 glowing guppies in pursuit of Ryl-Tkannoth, and after a while I decided to admit defeat because I was spending so much of my day down here. We were well over 100 cast out and we still could not find the elusive beast, and there was always tomorrow, and that tomorrow happened to be a Tuesday. Tuesday, of course, is reset day within Fallout 76, meaning I had a whole bunch of new daily and weekly challenges to complete, which meant I was going to level up the scorecard, and I was able to unlock 5 new superb bait to use in my hunt for the final local legend. And heading back to the mire, I decided to try out my new bait, and to my surprise, I ended up reeling in a banded axolotl. I forgot that these little guys could even be found within the mire as I spent so much of my time hunting them up in the Toxic Valley, and the idea of the axolotl is really interesting as only one breed of them can be found in the game per month, so once June is over, the banded axolotl will disappear from the game until the following June, which I think is a really fun way of adding rarity and fun to catching these creatures. After a few attempts, I was down to my last bit of superb bait, and wouldn't you know it, suddenly we have a really tough fish caught on the other side. After a bit of a battle, we reel in Ryl-Tkannoth Maw-Begotten, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, all 3 local legends are now caught. While we put Ryl-Tkannoth on the wall with the others, let's take a look at some of the rewards that we get for finding these fish. For catching any local legend, we get the fish display plaque, which I've been using in this video. For catching the Wavy Willard specifically, we get 3,000 bottle caps. The organ grinder rewards us with 60 legendary modules, and Ryl-Tkannoth gives us 40 treasury notes. Ultimately, the rewards are nothing insane or amazing. It's more about the journey of finding the fish and the fun of trying to actually catch them, and then of course going through and displaying them at your camp. I hope that Bethesda continues to add more local legends to the game in the future for us to hunt down and chase after, and I also think it would be really great if we got unique fishing outfits for having completed all of these challenges. For me personally, I've now caught every single fish currently available within Fallout 76, but the fun doesn't stop there as there are still many more challenges to grind for. For me personally, Gone Fishing has been an incredible update so far, and fishing has added a lot to the game. I hope that this system continues to grow and evolve over time, and now that I finally have all the fish caught, I think it's time for me to move my camp from its home in the Toxic Valley to somewhere in the forest. I've always really enjoyed that region, and I want to build up the ultimate fishing camp, complete with all the rare fish and all the rare camp items being on display, and just making it a nice place for people to go as they're going through their journey towards catching every single fish within Appalachia. It really does go to show that even when you think you're done, there's still always something more for you to do in a game like Fallout 76. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoyed our little fishing journey, and until next time, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.